fly fishing. It's more than a pastime, more than just a sport. It is a lifestyle. And today I want to talk about fly fishing rods, what rods are actually worth spending your money on, and just general fly fishing gear information for people that might not know a whole lot or just want some clearer insight. So some of you might know I do lots of different sports videos, but in the summer, usually I'm a guide fly fishing. And I've tried a lot of these rods. I've worked at multiple shops. And I want to break down just some of my thoughts on what things you should buy if you're going to look at buying rods and what things you should stay away from. So first, one of the most famous fly fishing companies is Orvis. Orvis is well known around the world, especially around the U.S. They've got a lot of clothing shops as well. But they have all these different fly fishing rods. Here's the Encounter for $198. Here's the Clearwater for $298. Here's the Clearwater combo outfit. There's fiberglass rods, all the above. So let's start here. So if you are somebody that is an advanced fly fisherman and you know a lot about rods, you will know that when you're casting well with different rods is more about a preference thing. So somebody that casts with a Recon and somebody that casts with a Helios that's an experienced fly fisherman, it's a marginal difference. Now, if you're in a casting competition, the Helios distance is the best rod. But anything other than that, a lot of these rods are going to do the same thing. So I'll talk here about what I would recommend. For someone new starting out, the Orvis Clearwater right here is a fantastic fly fishing rod. This rod comes in a lot of sizes. There's a 2-weight, 10-foot, 3-weight, 4 weights. It goes all the way up, I think, to 11 and 12 weights. And what the weight is kind of, that is the size of rod basically that it is. So that means, for example, a 5-weight is kind of your standard traditional, that's your 9-foot rod. Generally, the 9-foot 5-weight is your classic rod. A 4-weight, and this is meant for trout, of course. So 5-weight, a 6-weight really and below is pretty much strictly trout. A common rod is a 7.5-foot 3-weight. This is a great Orvis Clearwater as well if you're fishing more small creeks, if you're fishing for bluegill, for other things. The Clearwater is a great rod. And especially that 7.5-foot 3-weight. I've now had 3 of those. They hold up really, really well. And we're talking specifically about rods here, so I'm not going to worry too much about the reels. But working your way up, a 9-foot 5-weight, you can get one of these things for less than $300, and you can go find a reel and go get a reel in line for less than $100 as well. So you're sitting at about $400 for a very good usable starting combo. Now, as we work up the pricing range here, the Clearwater is not the Encounter is the cheapest one than the Clearwater. I think the Clearwaters hold up better, and so that's what I would recommend here from Orvis. Now, you look up the graphite fly rods. A lot of these other rods are going to be specific niche things. So the graphite rods are meant for small creeks. They go up to 5-weight, but they stay under 8 foot long. And the super fine graphite means it's basically a fiberglass material. It's very bendy. It's really meant for hyper-specific fishing situations. So in that case, generally, if you're new to fishing, you want to stay away from that. And working your way up, let's say you have a lot of money to spend on a fly rod. You're looking and you say, okay, the Helios, this is a cool rod. I'm going to be fishing in Alaska. I'm going to be fishing here. This is a great rod. But honestly, unless you're in some sort of casting competition and you need this Helios distance, this is really what the rod is for, the Helios D, the distance. It's not worth spending $1,000 on a rod. And even us guides, we get big deals from Orvis. It's still not worth buying that rod necessarily over something that's going to be a quarter of the price when it really can accomplish the same thing for us. So that's just a quick run through of Orvis. Now, you're thinking, okay, $400, that's a lot. But a really famous rod is the Winston Rod Company, RL Winston. This company is well known in the fly fishing community. It may be the premium sports car type of fly fishing rod that a lot of people talk about. So some of those rods include the Pure 2. This one comes in various lengths as well. I think it's got 4-weight, 9-foot is kind of their more popular one, I think, on that one. The Air 2 is a really good rod. This one comes in a lot of sizes. It goes into saltwater, over 9 foot, and it's a great trout rod as well. These rods are a little more flimsy, and again, they're a little bit more hyper niche. So if you're fishing for trout, you're fishing in big open areas. If you just like the way it casts, some people really love the looser feel of the Winstons, and it's kind of a chef's choice situation here. If you're going to be spending $1,200 to $1,300 on a fly fishing rod, which is really just a glorified piece of graphite, then you have to really, really like the way this thing casts. And so the people that have these that I know, they love them. And you can go down here. My biggest issue with Winston, if I was going to recommend even buying a nice rod, I would not spend the money on a Winston. The Tom Morgan favorite, I have one of these, and it breaks all the time. So someone that I'm one of my family members is using it, a friend's using it, these things break all the time. The Winstons are known for breaking, and a lot of these rods have lifetime warranties, but it's $100 or so to fix them every time you send them back. Even if it's a 25, Orvis has a 25-year warranty, Winston has the even longer warranty. So if I were recommending you to buy a new fly fishing rod, I would avoid this. Now you might be saying, all right, well, I can just go on the internet and find a cheap fly fishing rod. Why would I want to spend all this money? So let's look at it. I just looked up on Amazon, fly fishing rod combo. Here's one for $80. It's a 4-piece rod, and it's a 9-foot 5-weight. It comes with a reel, it comes with line, a bunch of stuff. Here's the thing. If you don't know anything about fly fishing and you're trying to learn, you're trying to get into it, and you want to see if it's something that you'd enjoy, it's not a bad thing to buy this. Granted, this $80 here that you'd spend is going to be less than any other rod, any other reel you'd buy, and it'll work for a few trips. If you get 3 to 4 trips out of this thing and it actually holds up pretty well, then it's kind of a worthwhile investment. The thing is, fly fishermen, we put a beating into our gear. Things, it's not that things don't hold up, it's that we break them down the line. They get put through the ringer. Whether it's in the woods, whether it's hiking, whether you drop the rods, whether being a guide, clients breaking the rods, it happens all the time. So getting something that's going to be durable is big for us. And if I were somebody getting into fly fishing specifically, and I wanted to buy something cheap, I would go ahead and buy one of these off Amazon. Now, let's say that I have done a little bit of fly fishing, or I'm going on a longer trip. I know this is something that is going to be a longer term goal for me, something that I'm going to really want to dig into and learn more about. Then I would go over here to Orvis and buy one of these rods. I would buy the Clearwater rod. This is the rod that I personally recommend to clients if they're getting into fly fishing or one of their kids is getting into it, because this rod is something that you can use a few times, throw in the back of your basement, and then if you reinvigorate your passion for fly fishing 10, 15 years later and you break it, you will still get covered by the warranty. It's also not a huge investment considering just the quality of it. These rods, they're kind of infamous in the fly fishing community as just truly a jack of all trades. The 8 weight is great for saltwater. The 6 and 7 weights are really good for inshore, bass, redfish, all the stuff between. The 11 weights up here, you could catch small tarpon on this thing. You could catch barracuda, you could catch muskie. It's just a versatile rod if you get that upper size. And for people that are either buying a different weight rod, let's say you're targeting a new fish. We've talked a little bit about trout, but let's say you're going to saltwater and you're going for a trip and you want something that maybe could work in the long term, but you don't want to spend all kinds of money. You don't have to. You can buy a Clearwater and it'll do a great job. So one other thing that I would really recommend is kind of tracking different companies and their pricing. So for example, here I'll search in Lamson. This company makes great rods and also great reels, and a lot of times they've got really good sales. So you can go in here, you can check out the freshwater or saltwater rods, and these come in cheap. They're really strong and really just consistent rods. You can find these outfits as well, these combos of rod and reel, and the reels for Lamson are going to be much better. But we just talked about rods today, just generally fly fishing rods, a little bit of a guide's perspective on what rods are actually worth it. To me, generally, and this is this is from a lot of experience, a lot of hours on the river. A rod is a piece of graphite at the end of the day. There's not a whole lot of difference in one to the other. It's really about preference. With today's technology, a lot of them are going to do the same things, especially for small streams, trout fishing, not fishing in the salt water, basically. Anything for trout, your rods are going to all work just about the same. Now, there's specific niches. You get longer rods for nymphing, you get shorter rods for creek and so forth. But in terms of quality and such, it's all going to be about the same. So with that being said, I would recommend Orvis and I would recommend Lamson. Those are the two best rods, and Lamson is more for saltwater, but I think these rods are fantastic. So hope you enjoyed this little fly fishing breakdown. If you like this, you want to see me talk about reels, want a more in-depth buyer's guide, please let me know down below. And also, please subscribe as well. We're getting a lot of views as of late, and it doesn't cost you guys anything, so hit subscribe, and we'll have more videos coming out soon.